Welcome to another edition of Baseball for Maniacs. Guys, I upgraded. I got a nice little laptop here and I got this cool little microphone here now. So, you guys are going to be getting the quality content that you guys deserve. And by quality, I mean not filmed on a phone. Yeah, this is going to be a new setup for me. You're going to be seeing a bit more content from me on the YouTube side of things. And today, I don't want to say I've been dreading it, but we're going to look at the projected lineup for the Boston Red Sox going into the 2026 baseball season. Now, I've been a very open critic on Craig Breslow and the way that he's been operating this entire offseason. Yes, we went out and got Wilson Contreras. Yes, we signed Rangel Suarez. I'm going to keep trying to say it that way. He's been Ranger forever, but he says it's Rangel, so Rangel Suarez, he's going to be our number two guy behind Crochet. The acquisition of Sonny Gray and the acquisition of Johan Oviedo as well, who's probably going to be competing with Cutter to get some rotation innings out of that one. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it'd be fair to call this offseason disappointing, just due to the names that we were told that the Red Sox were interested in and the names that we did not get. We were in on Bo Bichette. We were supposed to be in on Schwarber. We were more than in on Pete Alonso. I still get mad thinking about Pete Alonso. Losing Bregman is a huge, huge, huge hit, and then not being able to sign a guy like Eugenio Suarez or even trade for a guy like Alec Bohm. He still might be out there available in the market. I don't know. I wouldn't mind Alec Bohm in Boston. We can touch on that later. But yeah, we're gonna look over who the projected guys are supposed to be in this upcoming Major League season for my beloved Boston Red Sox. Now, this is a projected lineup that was sent in by, not sent in. I found this by RotoChamp. So go check out that website. They're pretty cool. They got a lot of really interesting, little interesting things on here you could play around with. But this is what they're projecting to be the Boston Red Sox lineup going into the 2026 season. Leading things off in the outfield is Roman Anthony. I don't mind that one at all. I would have Roman Anthony leading off if I was the manager of the ball club as well. Roman Anthony is special. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He may be one of the more special players in baseball right this very second. You can call it bias, you can call it whatever you want. I know what I saw. And what I saw was a kid who's ready and almost there. And I think he's going to have a huge spring training. I think the start of his season is going to be magnificent. And this could be a guy that we talk about come WBC time in a couple of years. So, that might be something to look out for. Our shortstop position is going to be Trevor Story, and this lineup that I have here has him hitting second in the lineup. Now, I don't have a choice but to kind of be okay with this one. I guess I would flip. I guess I would put Jaron in the two hole before I would go with Trevor Story, just because of the speed that Duran offers. But Story's main thing is his health. He did have a pretty above average season last year. When we were in the playoffs, he was one of our better hitters. He came through when he needed to. I loved seeing a healthy Trevor Story. I remember watching the game when he tried to make that diving stop at shortstop and he just completely blew his shoulder out. That was a season that I was really excited for, and then I got my hopes dampered, when Story went down. So I really am hopeful that he can have a full healthy season, because Colorado Trevor Story was a lot of fun to watch. And I think we can get another season of Colorado Trevor Story if we can get him to be completely healthy. We don't got to get him 162, but if we can get him for a good 90 to 110, I don't see how that could be a negative for Trevor Story. This is the part that gets kind of interesting to me, because in the 3 spot, DHing is Jarren Duran. Now, again, this outfield is beyond crowded. Roman Anthony, Jarren Duran, Wilyer Abreu, Cedar Rafaela, Masataka Yoshida. These are guys that could get regular playing time in most outfields in baseball. Cedar Rafaela has proven himself to be one of the best gloves in the entire league, and if his bat can take that next step, he could get MVP votes. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to get MVP votes, but I am saying to watch out for that bat because he really could turn things around and be exactly what Johan Rojas was supposed to be for the Phillies in the sense of the best glove in the outfield and an elite bat that you can put in the 9 hole, the lead off, the 2 hole, wherever you want him. But Jarren Duran DHing, I don't love it. I actually hate it, honestly. He's got pop, don't get me wrong, but it's not. I don't want somebody with under a 450 slugging in my DH spot. We already saw the adjustment that Rafi had to make when he went to go to DH. He turned things around, obviously, and he's doing his thing in San Francisco. I wish him nothing but the best. But Jarren Duran being the DH guy, that's a very interesting topic of conversation. Now, we know Casas isn't going to be available to start the year. We're not going to see him probably until May at the earliest. And he's going to get DH time according to what we've heard. But what does that mean then if he comes back and Duran is the DH? Do you slot Duran back into the outfield? Do the trade rumors start ramping back up here? I I guess it's kind of weird because Duran's the guy that you really don't know what to do with in this outfield. He can play second base. It's not going to happen. He came up as a second baseman when he got drafted, but that's not going to happen. He's not going to go back to the infield. I don't think Boston has any plans of putting him anywhere near the infield. So again, I'm not feeling Duran as the DH guy. Now, again, this is projection. This is not anything confirmed or guaranteed here. But this just being like a projected type thing, putting him in the DH, I would put a Willier in the DH before I put Jarren in the DH. And Roman Anthony I would put in the DH as well before Jarren Duran. But I'm also one of the guys that wants Roman to get more outfield time. So it's kind of a whirlwind for me there. Duran in the DH hitting third. I guess I would just have to see it to believe it. I would have to see how that goes, but I'm not a fan of it just as it's on the screen here for me. The cleanup guy this year is projected to be our new power guy, and that's Wilson Contreras. I loved it when we traded for Wilson. I love that he's going to be in Boston, mashing balls off the Green Monster, over the Green Monster, anywhere in that ballpark. He's going to be a huge piece for this team getting into the playoffs because we lost our big playoff guy already in Bregman. So we need somebody to fill that role in a big way. And that's either going to have to come from one of the young guys stepping up and taking a huge leadership role, or it's going to have to come from Wilson Contreras. And I think he's got to be the guy that's the energy guy, the clubhouse guy. We know he can be fiery. We know this is someone who has no problem telling his opinion to umpires. We know this is somebody who's passionate about this game. We know this is somebody who loves the idea of winning. And you come to Boston to win. You don't come to Boston just to play baseball. You come to Boston to win baseball games. And Wilson Contreras is going to be a huge contributing factor into that. I like slotting him in the cleanup spot. I don't really know where else you would put him here outside of that 3 to 5 threshold here. And this 3 to 5 threshold here is honestly all completely questionable to me because hitting fifth in this projected lineup is Wilyer Abreu. Now, again, like I just said about Duran, I love Wilyer Abreu. And he is another really good defensive outfielder, an underrated defensive outfielder. I'm pretty sure he just won a Gold Glove, but even before then and even now, I don't think he gets the praise he deserves. They're doing the top 10 players at every position right now on the MLB Network, their Instagram page. Shredder had him as the 10th best right fielder in all of baseball. Now, obviously, I think he's higher, but again, it's nice to see him getting some love. He's slowly becoming one of the most underrated players in baseball. Now, I'm not saying he plays at like an MVP level or that this is somebody who needs MVP votes, but in the grand scheme of things, Wilyer Abreu is not a guy that gets talked about a lot when it comes to how good the outfielder truly is. He's going to make a great play with the glove. He's going to throw somebody out going to third, and then he just might come up and hit the biggest home run of the game. That's what you're going to get from Wilyer Abreu. If he can just be consistent with with his hitting and with just how he plays in general, I don't like. He was a part of huge trade rumors too. So Wilyer hitting fifth, I don't hate it. I would prefer, I guess, a more solid, consistent, proven bat in my 5-hole, but I'm not going to complain about Wilyer being in the lineup. I love Wilyer. I'm excited for that one. Pardon me. Now, hitting sixth, one of the many bright spots that we had last year, but specifically at catcher, Carlos Narvaez. We stole him from the Yankees, and he had probably a much better rookie season than anybody would have ever thought that he could have had. He's going to be getting a lot more consistent time behind the plate because we saw what Connor Wong can do. We don't need any more Connor Wong behind the plate in Boston. I'd be very upset to see that. Nevertheless, he stepped up when he needed to step up, and he was honestly one of my favorite players to watch all of last season. I'm waiting to hear more about injury reports with him. If I remember correctly, he did have surgery right as we got into the offseason, so I don't know his readiness. I assume he's going to be ready to go by spring training. Pitchers and catchers reporting is not far away, people, and I'm getting really excited for it. But Narvaez is supposed to be hitting sixth in this projected lineup, and yeah, I don't hate it. I think that Narvaez, I'm not going to call him criminally underrated like Abreu. He had a very average season, but it was something that nobody really expected. And I think if Narvaez can just take an inkling of a step up, it's going to be a lot more than Boston could really ask for from Carlos Narvaez. And now here's the interesting part of the lineup to me. Not the 7-hitter here, because the 7-hitter is going to be Marcelo Meyer. Now, he's going to be playing third base because we still have Story, and again, we lost Bregman. But with that said, Marcelo Meyer played a really, really good defensive third base when Bregman went down with that injury. And he's been one of our highly touted prospects for a couple of seasons now, and he was beginning to put it all together. He finished with a 247 average. He had 13 nukes with 57 ribbies to go along with it, a 712 OPS. Strikeouts got to go down a little bit, but he was walking pretty good. Yeah, Marcelo Meyer is a clone of Corey Seager. That's what the scouting reports have said that he could be. And I think he's already better defensively than Corey Seager. But if he can get that bat to the same level as Corey Seager, then we're talking a whole different ballgame here. Marcelo Meyer, I think, is going to be the best player on this team going into the 2027 season. God willing, there is baseball in 2027. Marcelo is going to be the guy that's going to take a lot of what Bregman taught and instill it into these guys that we have now here. He spent a lot of time with him. He's going to be one of the only guys there besides Roman and Jaron that are really going to be able to get the emotion of the clubhouse all the way back up when they need it to be. And him being a young guy and him being, I don't want to say willing to take on that responsibility, but able to take on that responsibility is huge, especially for a guy in his early 20s. I want a huge year from Marcelo Meyer. I'm expecting a huge year from Marcelo Meyer. Come back and clip this when I am right. Now, this is the part that I have discrepancies with, because Romy Gonzalez is projected to be our starting second baseman. He's supposed to be hitting eighth. Now, he stepped up when we needed him. I'm not going to sit here and denounce Romy Gonzalez as a baseball player. He's a good ball player. You can plug and play. He kind of just a fill-in injury guy. But we just signed Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and David Hamilton, for some reason, is still on this roster. So I don't know what the plan is anymore in terms of that second base spot. That one's kind of been open since last season, let alone this upcoming season. We played Cedon at second base just to fill in a hole every now and then. I didn't like that, and I wish we would have went out and secured the second base position. We were in talks with the Diamondbacks for Ketel Marte, obviously Bo Bichette. Brendan Donovan, before he got moved to the Mariners, we were allegedly involved in conversations with the Cardinals about him, but none of that went through. So it's Romy season yet again. And I don't hate it. It's just, again, we should have definitely had much more play in this offseason, I guess is the word I should say. We should have had a lot more fire to go out and get some of the guys that we needed. We didn't go out and get scrubs. We got the guys that are going to come in and do their job. We'll talk about Ranger Suarez shortly, Ronher Suarez, excuse me. But yeah, if Romy Gonzalez is the starting second baseman, I don't think I'll be upset about it. But if it ends up being IKF or David Hamilton, then I'm probably going to have a gripe. And now rounding out this lineup here, we're going to have Ceddanne Rafaela. Now, I've done my praises on Ceddanne already, but I would love the opportunity to do it more. Ceddanne Rafaela has the potential to become everything that Juan Soto is, in the sense of hitting, actually. That's what I'm talking about here. His glove is already better. We don't need to talk about the glove. What I need to see from Ceddanne Rafaela is for him to turn everything around in the sense of hitting. He didn't have a bad year hitting. He had a couple really clutch hits. He had a walk-off that was absolutely electric, and that's the thing that kind of put him on everybody's radar. Ceddanne has the potential to be a top 5 center fielder in all of baseball. He could eclipse guys like Brian Reynolds. He could eclipse guys like Pete Crow Armstrong. He could be in those conversations. It just comes down to the consistency of his swing. And if he could be the second leadoff guy essentially in this 9-hole that we're putting him in, I would love it. And if Ceddanne could move his way up the lineup, going from 9 to putting himself in the 7-hole, I don't see him hitting anywhere 3 to 5. But if you could put him in the 2 spot, even if he's playing as good as I expect him to, I'm not going to be pissed off. I'm not going to be mad. And Ceddanne hitting 9th is sneaky good. And he's going to be a really good second leadoff guy. And when it comes down to it, don't be surprised if Ceddanne gets all-star votes. Starting center fielder, all-star votes. Now, that's the lineup. But I do kind of want to talk about this rotation, too, because we got a couple guys that are out on injury still. We didn't even see Patrick Sandoval last year. I don't know when Tanner Houck is supposed to be ready. Cutter Crawford's ready. But this pitching rotation is very, very, very solid. Garrett Crochet, Ronher Suarez, Brian Bello, Sonny Gray, and then rounding everything out, Johan Oviedo. That's the projected pitching rotation. Now, Oviedo is definitely going to be in competition with guys like Cutter, guys like Tanner Houck, guys like Patrick Sandoval. But again, Tanner's not ready yet. Cutter's coming off of an injury, and so is Patrick. So I think that 5 spot for him is kind of locked up. And he's one of the only guys that I really kind of have a question mark on. Sonny Gray, I'm not expecting greatness from. If he's going to be the 4 guy in the rotation, that's fine. I don't really want him pitching more than the 3rd day, really. So if it ends up being flip-flopping him and Bello there, that's fine. I love Bello being our 3rd option. I've always been high on Brian Bello. He's been a good pitch away, whether he's working on a new one or that changeup is just getting filthier. Whatever they're doing in the pitching lab with Andrew Bailey, I love what they're doing. And I need a great season from Brian Bello. I need to prove myself right, because I've been talking about Bello for years, and I need to actually prove my insanity this time around. And then obviously the top 2 guys, Ronher Suarez, Garrett Crochet. Getting Suarez from the Phillies was definitely a welcome surprise. It wasn't something that I expected at all, because I expected him to go to somebody that had a bit more, guarantee to get into October. Now, I know it's never a guarantee to get into the playoffs, but you guys know what I mean. There are teams that are just built for that success. And at the time, I didn't really think that the Red Sox were built for playoff success. In the grand scheme of things, I still don't. But I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again. Ronher Suarez is going to be the guy that gets us these wins in October. We've seen what he can do for the Phillies. It didn't end in a World Series ring, unfortunately, but we saw the outings that he had, and we saw the pitcher that Ranger could be. Ronher, excuse me. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. But him and Crochet as a 1-2 punch, those are 2 of the best lefties in the game. I'm biased, obviously. If it wasn't for Scooble, then Crochet would be the best lefty in baseball, and I think Ron Harris slots in that top five to go along with the best lefties in baseball. So when you got two of the top five best lefties as your 1-2 punch in the top of your rotation, it's pretty damn good. So I think this really all comes down to the offense. I think the pitching, it's not locked. It's not like lock and key type thing, but I think that the pitching is going to be the driving force for this team. Whether it comes from the starting rotation or whether it's from the bullpen with guys like Chapman or guys like Garrett Whitlock, it's going to have to really be the offense to be the standard bearer for what this team could be this season. And with that said, my confidence level isn't the highest when it comes to placement in the division or even just playoffs for that matter. I've been incredibly disappointed this entire offseason. Even with getting Ron Hare and even with getting Wilson Contreras, I'm really just not that excited. I want to get excited. I'm excited for baseball to start, but to say I'm excited for a Red Sox season, I'd be lying to you guys. And I want to be proven wrong. I hope that I am proven wrong. And if you think that I am wrong, blast me in the comments. But that's just my take on it. And the only issues that I have with the lineup is Jarren Duran being a DH. I don't mind if it's Romy. If it's anybody else, I'll be furious. But Duran in the DH is going to be something that someone's going to have to convince me of. That's going to have to be definitely something that I talk about and like let sit in my head for a while, because the idea of it just makes me uncomfortable, and I'm not ready to be uncomfortable with another DH. Get somebody who could be for sure your DH. But I guess with that said, that's going to conclude this edition of Baseball for Maniacs. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed this one. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think of my takes, my projections, and subscribe if you haven't already. Go drop a follow on the TikTok that just reached 1,000 followers. Thank you guys for that so much. You guys make it easy to do this stuff, and we have so much fun doing this stuff as it is. The fact that you guys are growing it in the rate and fashion that you are truly means the world. And I can't wait to keep making content for you guys. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.